This is the informant desk. Last video, I told you what this station is. This one is how it works. Not all of how a magician keeps a few things, but the real machinery, the real failures, and the parts I'd want explained to me if someone else had built it. Get comfortable. This one's for the engineers. Start with the only question that matters. What does it mean to say the market reacted to a post? Most coverage answers with vibes. We answer with a ruler. When a post lands, we pull minute by minute prices for everything we watch, index funds, volatility, single names, crypto, and we read fixed windows after the timestamp 5 minutes, 15, 30, an hour, the day. That gives you a move. A move is not an answer. Plus 1%. Is that a lot? For a sleepy index fund, enormous. For a meme stock on a Tuesday, that's breathing. So here's the core idea the whole station stands on. Every move is scored against that ticker's own history. We build, for each ticker, a distribution, thousands of windows just like the one we measured, drawn from years of its own trading. Your move lands somewhere in that distribution, and out comes a percentile, bigger than 96% of comparable moves. That sentence has a ruler inside it. That's the product. And the ruler has to survive contact with reality, which is messier than any demo. He posts at 3 in the morning, the market's closed. We don't pretend. That's a gap regime. We measure the overnight gap when trading resumes, and we score it against other gaps, like weekend gaps against weekend gaps. Crypto never closes, but it has its own fake problem, a UTC midnight that means nothing, so windows have to span it without truncating. Two posts land 8 minutes apart. Now you can't attribute the move to either one, so the reading is flag contaminated on the page, in the open. We flag it because deleting an inconvenient number is exactly the crime this station was built to prosecute. And the strictest rule of all, when a ticker doesn't have enough clean history to build a fair distribution, no number, not an estimate with an asterisk, nothing. We have a phrase in the codebase: insufficient data must never dress up as confidence. Fail closed. It shows up everywhere, and you'll hear why. Here's an architectural idea I'd steal if I were you. Every piece of text in this system is classified at birth into one of three trust tiers. Tier 1, measured facts. Numbers from the stores, computed by code. These may be spoken exactly, and only exactly. Tier 2, operator authored, things a human typed into a config file. Trusted because a human owns them. Tier 3, model output, anything the AI wrote ever, including its own previous shows. Untrusted forever, even when quoting itself. Every pipeline in the station knows which tier it's holding. A measured number flows to air unmodified. Model text headed anywhere sensitive passes through sanitizers. And the sanitizing happens at the source, at the one place of value enters the system. Never patched at each spot it gets printed. We learned that the hard way. Fix a leak at the print site, and the same value leaks somewhere else next Tuesday. Fix it at the source, and every downstream consumer inherits the fix. That one rule closed multiple bugs at once, more than once. If this project has an engineering thesis, it's this: the bugs are not inside the components. They're in the seams between components, two pieces, each individually correct, joined with a wrong assumption. Real example. We measure a day's move, and we score it against a distribution. Both correct. But for one stretch, the number we displayed came from one measurement anchor, and the percentile came from a slightly different one. Each half was right. The pair was a lie, a 15% move labeled with the percentile of an 8% move. We caught it before it aired, and the fix became a law's any value and percentile pair spoken together must be two views of one number, and there's now a test that recomputes the percentile from the printed value to prove it. Trust the components. Audit the seams. Then audit them again with a test that can't be sweet talk. Now the fun part. The shows are written by language models, and language models, left alone, are confident liars. So they are never left alone. Let me tell you about the knights that built the firewalls. Story 1. The first time our market alert segment fired for real, the script that came back cited a Reuters article with a headline and a timestamp. Sounded great. There was no article. The model had invented the citation hole because our prompt had described what wire attributions look like, and it learned the costume instead of the rule. It never aired. The same day, we built an output firewall. A script may only name a news outlet if that outlet's story is actually sitting in our feed with its real timestamp. Not, should only, may only. It's checked mechanically every time. Story 2. One evening broadcast announced our weekly audience poll results: 1,204 votes for option 1, 892 for option 2. Lovely numbers. The real count in the store was 2 votes. The model saw a poll and hallucinated a turnout. Now a validator licenses every digit in a bulletin against the source data, and a fabricated tally gets the script rejected and rewritten before any voice speaks it. Story 3 is my favorite because you can hear it. When the firewall catches a number the model can't prove, the line airs with the words "big number" in its place, out loud. A host will say, he claims the cost is some figure of dollars. And that's not a glitch, that's a confession, broadcast as a matter of policy. The absence of a number is more honest than a fake one, so the absence is what you hear. And yes, the firewall overcorrects sometimes. Early on, it garbled a host quoting a real phrase, trillions and trillions of dollars, because no digits appeared in the source. We taught it that a man's own shouted magnitude words are his to shout. The firewall got smarter. The confession stayed. One more, because it's a class of bug worth naming direction. A model narrating markets will, some percent of the time, say a stock rose when it fell. Magnitude right sign flipped confidently. So direction words are now licensed like numbers. The measured line says fell, and the script may say fell, or slipped, or any same strength word, but it physically cannot say rose, and it cannot say plunged when the tape says dipped. Intensity is tethered to measurement. Adverbs answer to the ruler. Under all of this, no database. Really? Every store in the station is an append-only file of JSON lines on disk. Posts, prices, measurements, scripts, votes, files. Boring, greppable, backupable files. Records, once written, are frozen. Code never rewrites history to match new logic. New logic learns to read old records. If a field didn't exist last month's records are honestly incomplete rather than retroactively fabricated. And then the paranoid flourish, the registry seal. The archive is hash-chained, each edition folded into a running cryptographic digest, and every evening broadcast reads the current chain head aloud. On the air. In the NATO alphabet, 9149 Alpha Delta, because early on the voices kept mangling raw hex, and a misread seal is worse than none. Why do this? Because this station's entire pitch is, we didn't message the record. A spoken hash means yesterday's broadcast contains a checksum of yesterday's archive, and if we ever quietly edited the past, the tapes themselves would testify. Verify us. That's the invitation. One more measurement system, my quiet favorite, the jury. When a burst of posts hits, the audience can vote. Will the market actually move? Then the tape settles, the measurement lands, and every juror gets graded against reality. Over time, that produces something rare on the internet, a crowd with a track record. And the weekly poll you hear about is deliberately not that. It's entertainment. It never touches the measurements. And the anchor is understanding orders to never present a crowd's guess as a verdict. Fun and truth, kept in separate rooms with the door locked. Every voice on this station is synthetic, cloned locally, and each one taught us something embarrassing. The cast started as characters with off-the-shelf synthetic voices. Then we moved to voice cloning, a few clean seconds of reference audio, and a local model speaks anything in that voice. Simple, after you survive the traps. Trap 1, our cloning engine trims reference audio at 12 seconds, but keeps the full transcript. And if those disagree, the clone compensates by speaking at 4 times speed. We found that out on air, chipmunk style. There is now a hard gate references live between 6 and 11 seconds, measured from the file header, never rounded. Trap 2, subtler, a clone copies its references pace. One host inherited a reference that read at 225 words a minute, and every one of her episodes came out breathless until we measured all the references and regenerated the fast ones down to human speed. Nobody tells you these things. Now the file gates tell us. Then there's the text side. Text-to-speech will happily read an ISO date as arithmetic, 2026-07, and read military time as a robot, and swallow a minus sign whole, which in a market show is a directional catastrophe. So between the honest script and the honest audio sit 10 small transforms, each one born from a listener catching one specific robotism. Dates speak as dates, times as 4:29 p.m. Eastern, tickers as company names, signs as up and down, decimals without their trailing zeros, dashes as breaths instead of canyons, abbreviations expanded, senator, not sendot. The screen keeps the precise notation. The mouth gets language. Same facts, 2 dialects. And the voice reading this. Cloned from about 8 seconds of me, recorded on a phone, restored with a little EQ, gated by the same rules as everyone else. I'm the newest hire on my own station, and I got no special treatment from the duration gate. Everything you're watching is rendered by a web browser. There is no video editor anywhere in this pipeline. Each scene is a web page, the same terminal aesthetic as the site, and the page is written so that any moment in time can be rendered on demand, give it a timestamp, get that exact frame. A headless browser walks the timeline, the frames become video, done. That one property, every frame a pure function of time, is the whole design. It means renders are reproducible, resumable, and, as of this week, parallel. We shard the timeline across a squad of browser workers and let the graphics card do the final encode, which made renders 3.3 times faster, measured. The captions you're reading are the same trick pointed at audio. We know each line's true duration because we measured it at synthesis, so the karaoke timing is honest too. Even the highlighting answers to a measurement. Here's the part I'd clip for the software crowd. The process that builds this station looks like the station. Features are developed by AI agents, and none of their work ships on trust. Every change passes an adversarial review, a separate model whose entire job is to attack the work, probe the measurement honesty, hunt the seams, try to make the validators reject good scripts and accept bad ones. That reviewer has caught, before air, fabricated attributions, a mismatched ruler, a validator that would have silently rejected the flagship broadcast every night over the phrase S and P 500. The pattern repeated often enough that it's now written law in the project's memory. Every firewall over-rejects on its first draft, so every firewall gets probed with realistic prose before it ships. The machine reviews the machine, and the human, me, reviews the reviews, mostly by listening to the radio and complaining. You'd be amazed what shipping through 3 layers of paranoia does for your sleep. So what does all this run on? Less than you think. 2 machines. A modest virtual machine serves the entire public station, website, feeds, the podcast, the evening voices. And in my garage, on a battery backup, one workstation with a single RTX 3090 does everything else, every token of every script, every cloned voice, every rendered frame. That one card, with its 24 gigabytes, runs a roughly 35 billion parameter mixture of experts model and residence, plus voice synthesis, plus video encode, and no, they don't all fit at once. There's a bollet. When the voice model needs the stage, most of the language model's layers get parked to system memory for a few minutes, then restored. 3 tenants, 1 apartment, a strict schedule. It works because we measured exactly how many layers to park. Of course, we measured it. The software, the core is Node with 0 packages. No framework, no database, no queue, no cloud SDK. The entire dependency list is empty, which means the entire supply chain is the standard library. Storage is files. Scheduling is system timers. The only containers in the building are jails for the 2 voice engines. Orchestration is a text file. And the operating system, we use Arch, by the way. The bill, monthly, 1 market data subscription, and whatever the garage adds to the electric bill. Cloud AI spend 0, structurally 0. There's no account to bill. Everything you've ever heard or seen from this station was computed on hardware I can walk over to and kick. That's the tour under the hood. Kept back, deliberately the prompts, the validator internals, the thresholds, and everything shaped like a door. But the ideas, rulers over vibes, trust tiers, fail closed, audit the seams, confess what you can't prove, those are free. Take them. Build your own strange honest machine. Not this one. Yours. Numbers don't care how loud you type them. We measure it anyway. We write it down, and we read you exactly what the tape says. No more, no less. I'm the operator. The receipts, as always, are at informant.reiners.io. Thanks for going deep.